Hey, how's it, everybody? The waves were a little too big. I thought I was going to get out there in time after I did the Mars Volta video, but I went out back and it was like 20 feet. Negative. Anyhow, this is going to be a little bit of a talk story. If you kind of want to neo-maxi zoom dweeb out with me on, production and dynamics and stuff, I'm going to answer a question using a little piece of music. Actually, this track by Tim Henson. I already heard it, so it's not going to be a reaction as much as a little bit of celebration about where he is possibly with his creativity, his musicianship, and his ability as a musician. But it comes on the tail of about 25 questions that all kind of said the same thing that I wanted to answer, which is, what did I think, or what do I think about how music is written now because of the digital interfacing of software compared to my days, which I thought, wow, that's kind of a bold question, and I'm going to try to answer it. So how am I going to try to answer it? First, I'm going to play this great video, Blood Moon. This thing's only 50 seconds. And if this is not your jam, but you're here because of Tool and Meshuggah and Dream Theater and Devin Townsend and all the bands that I've been reacting to, you may want to hang out because I'm actually going to pull in some of what they do into answering the question about what are my thoughts about how people produce now opposed to then. All right, so let's check this out. This is Blood Moon by Tim Henson. It's only about a 50-second track at best. This guy's freaking genius with his skill set. So let's do this. Here we go. Oh my goodness, what do we say about that? Well, first let me focus on Tim, but I'm gonna run the answer to that question right after this. Tim Henson to me is one of those musicians in his generation that is setting new standards for guitar playing. For some people say, well, he's too technical and it's too mechanical sounding. Well, we all have our own opinions and stuff, but as an instrumentalist, which of a lot of the stuff that they've done, all instrumental, polyphia, I'm sorry. Yes, here comes the comments. When you are an instrumentalist, you take every opportunity with your instrument to express yourself. Now, obviously, Tim Henson came from a gent, shred metal background from what I could see in his profile, and is moving forward. His trajectory and his path is becoming creative in the way that his soul feels like, well, here's what I can do with my instrument. I want to take it to a new way and a new sound. Now I'm going to start to kind of fade into the production answer to the original question. And the reason why I want to still focus a little bit on Tim Henson is because Tim is one of the many artists that do a how did I do it, or a breakdown of how I wrote this song video. I think a lot of attention is brought to the fact that he is so quick to say, hey, here's how I wrote this song, and he shows you how he does it digitally in the chunks the way he does it. And to me, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with the process that he is using because of technology. It's here for us to use. If we don't take advantage of it, and if we sit there and go, well, it's not really music because I don't, well, that's cool, man, so you can sit there with your heroic dose of whatever and have that conversation with your friends that, this isn't pure enough. But to me, this is, I hate this, God, it's such a crap term, at the cutting edge of what, young musicians who are learning to produce, compose, and arrange with the new tools are watching this or watching his examples, and they are going to take the next leaps. I've said this before, how do you see far? You stand on the shoulder of giants. Right now, he's a giant in this industry with guitar and stuff. And his musicianship and his arrangement talent and composition talent, to me, it doesn't outshine his abilities to play, but it's a very gratifying feeling on where he potentially is going to be going with his future in arranging music with his already, hailed skills of being a guitar player. Now, how do I feel about the way it was in the past opposed to now is, I've had a lot of people leave comments about, well, in this way, when I was young, it's pencil to paper, man. Everything was pencil to paper. Now, this guy is my father. This was taken around 2003 or 4. And I want you to notice, even though he's being kind of a clown right here, I couldn't have picked a better picture. But notice he has a computer, and then he has this, his MIDI keyboard, and to the right he has, you really can't see much of it, is where he would write his music down. He was in the middle of a film here, and he would actually do all of the tracking in MIDI, they'd sync it all up, and then he would handwrite each one of them onto a score because he didn't like Sibelius, or what I think it's Sibelius, whatever, the, print to score process at that time, which I'm sure is different now. So here's my father, who probably wrote his first piece of music in the 1940s, pencil to paper, and to the very day that he passed away in 2012, he was still pencil to paper, even though he was able to use the digital process of arranging and composing as an advantage for him to sit there and go, well, here, I'll dial up all my orchestral sounds so that I can mock up an arrangement, and then he'd do all his work. But then he would turn around and go, here's the oboe, here's the bassoon, and everything, and then he'd give it to his copyist to copy out for the orchestra. And talking about mocking up an orchestra, that's what the ability of technology, digital audio workstations give us too, is that we can mock up and test different things, many different layers and stuff, and then we can peel it back. It gives me the opportunity as an arranger and a composer to sit there and I put a bunch of stuff in there, and then that's too much, or that's not sticking, and then I could peel it back. Delete that, shove this over here, move this over there, or completely get rid of it, to the point where I couldn't really, I could do that in pencil paper days, but I didn't have the fun and the joy of being able to hear what I'm hearing when I'm working through my modules, so that's important, is that with today's ability, we still have a chance to layer. Personally, my life as a composer would not be where it is, especially at the rate I still, believe it or not, still get hired to do work. If it wasn't for technology, I wouldn't be able to accomplish the things that I do in the time that I do in order to deliver the music when they need, the people that hire me. Whether we're using a digital platform to compose or pencil or paper, it's identical because it still has to come from here. That's the most important thing. That's the most important part of this answer, is that even though the tools have changed in how we can get a song tracked or started, it still has to come from here. So whatever the process is, any of the bands that I have been reviewing, or Tim Henson or anything uses as far as getting it to the level to present to the band members or whatever, really doesn't matter. And some people say, well, that's cheating if you put the kicks here and then you take the kick information and put it up to a bass sound and then you nudge it this way. No, it's not cheating, because if it sounds like crap, it's still going to sound like crap. You have to nudge that little MIDI information into the right key in the bass and all that. And as you see him and how he assembles it, like if you watch one of his videos on one of the things, there was some song from who was that country girl, Taylor Swift or something. He said he hated, but he had to dissect, and he wanted to, which I thought was really cool. Like, he hated it so much, he had to figure out why. But let's talk really briefly about Tool. In all my study now, since I did my very first video back, 6 weeks ago, and I got into this, and now look what's happening to this channel, and I'm having a great time, is that apparently the Tool process is that Danny, Justin, and Andy will write, Adam, oh shit, here comes the comments. We'll write the tracks first and then give them to Maynard for him to fill in. I think they call that mainline composition, where the melody doesn't come first. And then I'm sure somewhere in that process, they structure out the song and stuff, get it together nice and tight, and then go back into the studio, or chop it up, or completely reperform it back in the studio as they see fit. I don't know what the process is at all with Meshuggah, The Who, Mars Volta, even, yes, I've heard some of the ways when sometimes they used to do things in chunks and then take them and move them around until they assembled a song and stuff. So whether it's pencil and paper or technology, those are just tools to express what's coming out of here, what's coming out of here, to here, to here, and then out of these speakers. So I know everybody has an opinion on the process and stuff, and most of the times you'll find that people that have those particular opinions are musicians and composers and arrangers that have your own organic way, structure, and how you're going to write something. So, you know, for me, as a production library composer and other media composing that I do, the fact of the matter is I get a phone call and said, I need 4 tracks that sound like this, to do like this, to do like this. Can you get it to me by day after tomorrow? I'm like, okay. I couldn't do it if I didn't have technology, if I didn't have modules, if I didn't have a DAW, digital audio workstation, if I didn't have my rig here, I wouldn't be able to do it. I mean, I still got to pick up my guitar, my bass, my ukulele, or whatever to do organic work, but it's because of technology that I can get my arrangements out and participate much as Tim Henson. Open up a workflow, and get it going. So, you know, I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of different questions that'll come from this, and you know, I'm stoked that if you're still hanging out and getting little bits and pieces of what it is I bring to this channel is super cool being. So I want to thank you for that, and you know, I hope I answered the question without getting too rambly, but it's my channel, I get as rambly as I want. And the fact of the matter is if you're here long enough to hear that and you've took offense to it, then write a comment, help my algorithm. I'm kidding. God, I'm feeling very punky right now because I couldn't get in the water because the surf was too damn big. Anyhow, listen, guys. Thank you so much for going on this journey with me. I have a funny feeling I'm going to do a lot more of these talk stories as I move forward with more reaction and reviews or analysis as I move forward. And then finally, I do want to say where I truly feel so grateful and so elated about what I'm doing with this channel is the fact that so many people are learning just a little bit more about music and the passion, and taking the songs that you really love up just a level by sprinkling my nuances with my reactions. To me, that's the gold. I'll paddle out and surf, and still in my mind I'll be out there going, man, that was so cool when that person left that comment going, I've heard this song 10,000 times, but once you said this, now I have something else to listen to. And it's just, I'm sorry, I'm being a grandpa, you know, I'm internet music granddad or uncle. Brother, you some kind of uncle, brah? Anyhow, aloha. God, I talk too much. Here we go.